session in English for 1 hour. Hare Krishna. So we have completed on Thursday 4.29.61. Last verse which we read on Thursday was verse number 61. So today we will start with verse number 62 onward. We start with Radha Madhav. You can follow.
Yes, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, we are very fortunate to the association of His Grace Yoga Krishna Prabhu today. So, yes. First we will welcome Prabhuji by chanting Hare Krishna mantra 3 times. Just welcome Prabhuji enthusiastically and muting your microphones. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Prabhu may like to do Kirtan, Prabhu, before.
No, Prabhu, please you continue. I'll join, I will be in line, Prabhu.
Okay.
Thank you.
Please enlighten us with the explanation about Prabhu, then. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. Yes, Prabhuji. Any volunteer to lead Kirtan today? Those who don't do regularly.
Krishna Prabhuji.
Vimana Mataji, please. Who will repeat? Who is volunteer?
I will repeat. I'll repeat first.
You will repeat. Okay. Then who is leading? Srikumar Prabhu or somebody else?
I can lead, no problem.
Okay. No, if somebody want, we and just trying to give chances because
of course.
Somebody is desirous, they can. Okay, Prabhu.
Okay.
We'll go ahead.
Jaya Madhava Jaya Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari
Yeshodhanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana
Yeshodhanandana Braja Jana Ranjana
Yeshodhanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana
Yeshodhanandana Braja Jana Ranjana
Yamuna Tira Vanajari
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Jai.
Guru Maharaj ki Jai.
Jai.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. Shivana Krishna ji ki Jai. All glory to the devotees. Hare Krishna. Thank you all once again for joining welcome all devotees for our Nityam Bhagavata Seva. So we will read today. Thursday we have completed 4.29.61. So today we are to start from verse number 62 onwards of chapter 29. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tado Jayamudire. Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Ruttama Shlove Bhaktar Bhavati Nashtagi. Mugam Karodi Vajalam Bangum Lange Devidim Yat Trivadamaham Vande Paramanandamadamam. Sri Gurum Dheeradarinam Sri Chaitanyamishakam. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalagya Chachurumididam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamahyam Dadan Visupadandiyam. Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Udavadagamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnavamsha Sri Rupam Sagarjadam Sagala Raghunadhanidam Dam Sajivam Sadvaidam Savadudam Parijansalitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sakala Lada Sri Vishaka Nidamsha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabando Janalpade Gobesha Goviga Ganda Varatha Ganda Namastude Taptaganjana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavani Shri Vrishabhanu Sude Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpadarubhya Chakrubha Sindhubhya Vajapatitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhudale Srimade Jagdaka Swamin Nidinamini Namo Acharya Padaya Nidaya Gurva Pradayane Yudhikada Damadaya Nagara Giramadarine Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhudale Srimade Bhaktivedanta Swamin Nidinamini Namaste Saraswati Deva Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Vachatire Shadarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gauravakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Welcome once more all of you. We are lucky today. Shivana Prabhuji is there. Himavati Mataji also there. Sudarshan Vasdev Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Sarvayda Mataji also. Hare Bol. Okay. Thank you all devotees for joining. Hare Krishna. So, Prabhuji, Prabhuji reading, or I will start with the verse number.
1 minute, Prabhu. One second. I will see. But it is at 429:62.
62, yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, Prabhu. I will read this.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Guru Maharaj ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 29, text number 62. Am I audible, Prabhu? Loud and clear?
Yes,
Yes,
Prabhu, yes, yes.
Thank you. Mamaite manasayatyat, mamaite manasayatyat, aswaham idhi bruvan, asavaham idhi bruvan, grihniyat tat puman raddham, grihniyat tat puman raddham, karmayena punarbhavaha, karmayena punarbhavaha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Abhay Charnaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. The living entity labors under the bodily conception of I am this, I am that. My duty is this, and therefore I shall do it. These are all mental impressions, and all these activities are temporary. Nonetheless, by the grace of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the living entity gets a chance to execute all his mental concoctions. Thus, he gets another body. Purport. As long as one is absorbed in the bodily consumption, his activities are performed on that platform. This is not very difficult to understand. In the world, we see that every nation is trying to supersede every other nation, and that every man is trying to advance beyond his fellow man. All these activities are going on under the name of advancement of
Civilization. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
What happened?
Whose music is unmute, but we are not able to hear anything from it.
Prabhuji is online or?
Yeah, it's online. It's online, but cannot hear anything. So maybe Prabhu Shikmar, you can continue. Prabhuji join, he will receive.
Okay. Beyond his fellow men. So I will read from. All these activities are going on under the name of advancement of civilization. There are many plans for making the body comfortable, and these plans are carried in the subtle body after the destruction of the gross body. It is not a fact that after the gross body is destroyed, the living entity is finished. Although many great philosophers and teachers in this world are under the impression that after the body is finished, everything is finished. This is not a fact. Narad Muni says in this ways that at death one takes his plans with him, and to execute these plans, he gets another body. This is called Punar Bhava. When when the gross body is finished, the plans of the living entity are taken by the mind, and by the grace of the Lord, the living entity gets a chance to give these plans shape in the next life. This is known as the law of karma. As long as the mind is absorbed in laws of karma, a certain type of body must be accepted in the next life. So Darshan Prabhuji joined back, Prabhuji. Cannot see. So Darshan Prabhuji is joined back. Able to read?
No, Prabhu, I think still is not able to.
Not here, okay. sorry, karma is the aggregate of fruitive activities conducted to make this body comfortable or uncomfortable. We have actually seen that when one man was about to die, he requested his physician to give him a chance to live for more years so that he could finish the plans. This means that while dying, he was thinking of his plans. After his body was destroyed, he doubtlessly carried his plans with him by means of the subtle body composed of mind, intelligence, and ego. Thus, he would get another chance by the grace of the Supreme Lord, the Super Soul, who is always within the heart. Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto mattasmidit jnanam abohanam cha. In the next verse, one acquires remembrance from the Super Soul and begins to execute the plans begun in the previous life. This is also explained in Bhagavad Gita in another ways. Ishvara Sarva Bhudanam Deshe Arjuna Tishtadi Brahmyan Sarva Bhudani Yada
Rudani
Maya.
Yantra. Yantra, Prabhu. Yantra means machine. Yantra.
Sorry. Okay, thank you, Prabhuji. The Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's head, O Arjuna, and is directing the wanderings of all living entities who are seated as on a machine made of the material energy. Bhagavad Gita 18.61. Situated on the vehicle given by material nature and reminded by the super soul within the heart, the living entity struggles all over the universe to fulfill these plans, thinking, I am a Brahmana, I am a Kshatriya, I am an American, I am an Indian, and so on. All these designations are of the same sense. There is no point in becoming a Brahmana, a preference to an American, or becoming an American in preference to a Negro. After all, these are all bodily conceptions under the modes of material nature. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Sri Kumar Prabhu. So, actually, I am not qualified to discuss on this Srimad Bhagavatam, because since devotees are giving me an opportunity to glorify Srimad Bhagavatam for my own purification, and as a service, I'll try to explain whatever my understanding. Prabhu, my audio is clear, Prabhu? Hare Krishna.
You are loud and clear, Prabhu. Yes, yes, Prabhu.
Thank you. So here, as we are reading in the chapter, talks between Narada and King Prachinabharati. So after Narada Muni is explaining about the King Prachinabharati, about the allegorical story of Puranjana, King Prachinabharati is actually not fully understanding the story characters, like how it is relating to the real life. So then Narada Muni is explaining more detail about what is what, all these characters, what it represents, and from the allegorical story. Based on the story discussion, King Prachinabharati is asking more questions to Narada Muni for getting more clarity and enlightenment. So in that discussion, here we are discussing today's text number 62. where actually from text number 60 to 79, Narada Muni is explaining actually to King Prashna Parashit about the mind's role in the soul's transmigration. Why we are transmigrating is because of our subtle body. So that is being explained here. As we know in our Sanatana Dharma, the basic foundation philosophy of Krishna consciousness is two things, karma and reincarnation. The whole Bhagavad Gita is based on this. So when we are doing activities, there is karmic reaction. Based on the karmic reaction, even if the body is finishing, we are taking another body to continue our activities. So that is the fundamental teachings of Bhagavad Gita. That is, we are not this body, we are spirit soul, and there is karma and there is reincarnation. So that in that way, this verse actually, Narada Muni is explaining the basic philosophy of Krishna consciousness. And Prabhupada is giving a very detailed purport on this philosophy. So, as I said, 60 to 79, where Narada Muni is explaining about the mind's role in soul's transmigration. And this chapter goes up to the verse number 85. So after this chapter goes to the next chapter 30, which is about the activities of the Chetas. So one thing we need to remember is actually in the verse number 60, it is said, Narada Muni is explaining that the subtle body remains after the death. So we cannot see that by our physical eyes, but the subtle body is actually there after the death also. And to explain that how this reincarnation is working, Narada Muni is actually giving a logic of the dream. How in the dream, even though our physical body is at the rest, we are seeing so many things in our dream, like we are traveling somewhere, we are meeting our relatives, but our body is on the bed. Similarly, at the time of reincarnation, the physical body is here, but we are carried to next body. Like that, the example is given. And today's verse is actually verse number 62, in continuation to that discussion. Why we are, the reason for one's next life is explained in this verse. What is the main reason? The main reason is the Jivatma is misidentifying that it is the body. It is not knowing the real fact that we are spirit soul. It is identifying with the body. And so it is performing a lot of things related to the bodily actions, which accumulate its karma. So as a result of that karma, he receives what happens, these impressions are stored in the subtle body, and the subtle body is carried forward to the next body. Okay, so let us read the translation. The living entity labors under the bodily conception of I am this, I am that. My duty is this, and therefore I shall do it. So whatever we identify, suppose one person is strongly identifying that I belong to this caste. If that conception is very strong, what he does, to over that caste people, he starts doing some favor. So like example in, here locally, I was discussing for one school admission, for school admission. So one person was telling, oh, this school you have to go for, to Dabu's family. Dabu's family will tell, then immediately you will get seat there. That means, so they help somebody from Dabu's family, he will talk to them, then they will help. So somebody is strongly in certain, suppose if you are thinking I am the body, strong conception is there, then we are so much focused on bodily enjoyment. And if you are thinking that, this is my country, what happens? Then the strong thing is we start serving the country, like we know Mahatma Gandhi is the father of our nation. He given his entire life for, for getting freedom for India, because he was so much identifying with our country. And so whatever we identify, if somebody is identifying strongly with their family, they sacrifice everything for their family. Whatever they work hard for their family upliftment. So like that, people identify with their community, with their caste, with the country, with the society. So like that. So as long as we identify with either of these things, what happens? Here it is there very clearly written. Accordingly, our duty will change. Suppose we are having a strong impression that I am Krishna's property, then immediately we start serving Krishna. And Krishna is saying that, yes, you are my property. He's saying the 15th chapter, Krishna is saying that very clearly in the 7th verse, Mame Vamso Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. All these Jivatmas, they are my part and parcel. That is a real identity. That is called real ego. False ego is to identify with the body, whereas real ego is to identify with the soul, or to think that I am the part and parcel of Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. So it is not related to any religion, Prabhupada always says this has nothing to do with Hinduism. So even if you think I am a Hindu, then you are identifying with certain religion. If you think I am a Christian, you are identifying with certain religion. So even identifying like that, again, we are in illusion, because the real identity of a person is actually, is a living entity, is a spirit soul, and is part and parcel of God. And God is big and the soul is small. The soul is small is to serve the big. Prabhupada always gives the example like, if there is a big machine and one screw fell down, the screw, if you put separate, the screw has no value. But if the screw is again attached to the machine, it is helping the machine to function. Similarly, this living entity, if it is cut off from the God, it has no value for itself independently. But if it is again serving the Lord, then it is having all the glories and value. So that should be the real ego. Real ego means to understand that I am part and parcel of God. And what is actually preventing us to think like that? The one thing which is preventing us to think all these things is actually the mind. The uncontrolled mind is always planning for material enjoyment. Whereas the controlled mind, it is helping us in spiritual progress. Krishna says that in 6th chapter. If you control the mind, it becomes your friend. If you don't control your mind, it becomes your enemy. That we are seeing in practical life also. A person with greater self-control, he is very peaceful and more, happy, satisfied with his life. But an uncontrolled person, uncontrolled mind, even the person has everything, he is not happy. Like we have this example of Duryodhana. Even though he had everything, because his mind was not controlled, he was always harboring envy towards Pandavas, and finally his life got finished. Ravana also, he was not satisfied with his own family, with his wife, and he wanted to enjoy everything. His mind was uncontrolled. We know that finally he was killed by Lord Ram. So controlling this mind is very, very important. This whole spiritual life, the whole spiritual life is targeting on controlling the mind, because failing to control the mind will lead us to the next life in the form of subtle body. So there are so much mental impressions, and all these activities are temporary. These are all mental impressions. By the grace of Supreme Personality of Godhead, the living entity gets a chance to execute all his mental concoctions. Thus, he gets another body. So the Lord is seeing that this living entity is having so many desires, and so many desires are fulfilled, and so many are balanced without fulfillment. So the Lord gives again one more body so that we get a chance to fulfill our desires. But what is the problem with the mind? The desires never end. You can say the desires never die. Today 5 desires you fulfill, then tomorrow 10 desires come. And then so like that. So the desires will never die, and we keep on taking so many bodies. So there is a saying that the mind means ever fed, it is never satisfied, and never fed, it is ever satisfied. So as long as we do not encourage the mind, the mind becomes more peaceful. So by the grace of Supreme Personality of Godhead, the living entity gets a chance to execute all its mental concoction. Thus he gets another body. This is the translation. Prabhupada gives explanation, which is very self-explanatory. No need to explain, but still we can see some of the important points, because anybody reads, I think they should understand this. Like as long as we are absorbed in the bodily conception, our activities are always on the bodily platform. And Prabhupada itself writing, this is not very difficult to understand. Okay. Practically we see that every country, like even every country today on this planet is always planning that I will exit this country, like China. It is always competing to overcome, to get a better power than America and India. And every country, they are trying to supersede every other nation. That's why there is a lot of war. Now Russia wants to become superpower. So Russia is attacking Ukraine, like that. So in this world, these are practical statements what Prabhupada is writing here. And these are realities also. These are not imagination, these are actual facts. Every nation is trying to supersede every other nation, and that every man is trying to advance beyond his fellow man. Even within a family, you can see there are 2 brothers. One brother wants to become better than the other person. Or within sisters, you can see there is always a competition. There is always, I want to be better than others. This is bodily conception. All these activities are going on under the name of advancement of civilization. So these are the realities in this world. There are many plans for making the body comfortable, and these plans are carried in subtle body after the destruction of gross body. So there are so much plans here, and there is no stop of this. The desires don't die. And here we understand that when the gross body is destroyed, when we die, only the gross body is left here and the subtle body is carried forward. And very clearly, there are a lot of research conducted on this, a lot of psychologists, psychiatrists, over many years. There are many books on this, how this consciousness is actually carried forward. So there is like past life memories, there is near-death experiences, and there are so many things like that. So there are a lot of proof and impressions, proof that the body, this Bhagavad Gita, whatever it is saying, it is not just a theory. This is already researched and concluded that there is afterlife after this birth. So here Narada Muni in this verse is actually this verse that at death is explaining, at death one takes his plans with him and to execute these plans gets another body. So the Lord is merciful. So he is giving us innumerable chances to execute the desires. This is called Punarbhava. Punarbhava means getting another body. And this is the plans in the shape. So we know in Srimad Bhagavatam also, Karmana Deva Nityena Jantur Deha Upapate. How we get the next body? It is based on our karma and based on the higher powers. Accordingly, we get next body. Okay. So whenever we are born with great beauty or very high intelligence or good family, we should understand it is because of our previous pious activities which we have performed. So in that way, we get the next body. And these bodies keep on coming. There is no end to that as long as we don't take spiritual life seriously. If you take Krishna consciousness, then only you can destroy this subtle body. By practicing Krishna consciousness, what happens? Instead of our subtle body gets destroyed and our spiritual body gets developed. Spiritual body gets developed by practicing Krishna consciousness. And when we get the spiritual body fully developed, then we are promoted back to the spiritual body. And Srila Prabhupada writes here further to the purpose that what is karma? Karma means the aggregate of fruitive activities conducted to this big body, comfortable and uncomfortable. Prabhupada gives a practical example in his experience that when he saw when he was in Calcutta, he saw a man who was about to die, but he requested the doctor to give him a chance to live for 4 more years so that he could finish his plans. So during death also, now we are seeing our life is having so many desires. This will continue up to our death. This is not that after 10 years, it will be reduced. No. The more the number of years, the more number of desires, more number of complexities will come and we will be never satisfied. We have always unfulfilled desires and we always have a lot of plans. So we should know that everything comes by the material destiny, but we should not, like Prahlad Maharaj says, as distress comes without prayer, you don't go to the God for getting distress, but distress is coming in our life. Like that, happiness also will come, what is destined for us. So don't waste the time to go to God and ask for happiness. That will come as per their destiny. And whatever we should get in this life, you will get, even if you don't pray to God. But the intelligent person prays to God so that he will progress in his devotional service. That is actual sign of intelligence. So we should always remember that we can always pray to the Lord that we progress in pure devotional service. Prabhupada gives here the example, he's quoting a verse from 15.15, the most important verse, which Prabhupada quotes many times in his lecture, Sarvasya Chaham Hridi Sannivishto. Sarvasya Chaham means in everywhere, in all living entities. Hridi means heart. Sannivishto, that means Krishna is present as a Paramatma in all the heart, in all the living entities. From Krishna comes Matta Smriti Jnanam Apohanam Cha. From Krishna as a super soul sitting in the heart, 3 things is coming. Forgetfulness, knowledge, and remembrance. So 3 things come. That means forgetfulness comes means our previous life we forget because of Krishna's mercy. Because if you remember all the previous life, you will get headache, you will get like a split personality will become. So 3 things Krishna is governing within as a super soul. What are those 3 things? Matta Smriti Jnanam Apohanam means Apohanam Cha. So Krishna is giving us the forgetfulness so that we forget our previous life. Krishna also gives remembrance so that sometimes we remember our past unfulfilled desires, we remember and we try to execute the desire in this life. And Krishna also gives the jnana. Jnana means knowledge. Three things Krishna is giving. So in next birth, one requires remembrance from the super soul and begins to execute the plans begun in the previous life. So whatever is left in the previous life, we continue. So suppose example, if you open a Word document, you type something and you leave it in halfway and you go and you close the window. Maybe it is 35 pages you typed already and you close the Word document, and after one day, next day you open the Word document, the Microsoft Windows says you can resume from where you have left. Like that, it will show. If you click that button, immediately it will go to the place where you have left the previous day. So that means same way, karma also working. Like where we have left in the previous life, from there, we will resume. Either it is for spiritual life also, if you have completed 40% of spiritual life, you resume from where you have left. That is you will start from 41%. But material life, you resume from scratch again, from zero, but based on the karma. And Prabhupada also quotes another verse here, which is from 18.61, very important verse also. Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam. Ishvara means Krishna. Sarva Bhutanam means all living entities. Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam. Hirdesha Arjuna Tishtati. So, Krishna is present as Sarva Bhutanam at the region of heart. Arjuna Tishtati. Oh Arjuna, know that the Lord as Paramatma is seated in all living entities in the region of heart. Brahmayan Sarva Bhutani means this Sarva Bhutani means all living entities. Brahmayan is they are just rotating in the cycle of birth and death. How they are rotating? Entra Rudani Mayaya means like a machine, like a driver is seated on a machine. Through the influence of the Maya, three modes of material nature, these living entities are sometimes promoted to the higher planets, sometimes in the middle planets, sometimes in the lower planets as they are seated in the machine. So that translation of the verse goes like this. The Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart. Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hirdeshi Arjuna Tishtati. O Arjuna. And is directing the wanderings of all living entities, Brahmayam Sarva Bhutani, who are seated as on a mission made of material energy. Yantra Rudani Mayaya. So this is how our life is progressing here in this material world. We have to be, the purpose of spiritual life is to actually to stop this repetition of cycle of birth and death and go back to spiritual world. So situated on the vehicle, this body is compared to like a machine given by the material nature and reminded by the super soul within the heart. So suppose you compare this body like a car, the soul is like a driver. That's why when we go to the doctor also, if the car is not working, the mechanist, what he does, he will open the car and see what is wrong. And, he will do some test to see whether the engine is good, the oil is good, like that. Similarly, our body is also like a machine. When there is an issue, we go to the specialist doctor. They analyze, what is wrong by doing various tests. They take the blood test, they take by that they see whether the liver problem is there, kidney problem is there. And nowadays, we are seeing that there are a lot of untimely death. Somebody is leaving their body at the age of 40, 45, 30, 35. Frequently, we are hearing the news. So in this Kali Yuga, we are seeing, even though it is said 100 years is the lifespan in Kali Yuga, there is a lot of untimely death. Especially after COVID, we see a lot of people die at a very early age. So this life is very, very tottering. Like we have the bhajan, Kamala Dala Jala, means our life is like tottering like a drop of water on the lotus leaf, Jivana Talamala, means anytime we can leave our body. That is actually the harsh reality. So we should take this Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada is saying that very seriously, so that, we get the mercy of the Lord, we get the blessings of the Lord. And definitely Krishna consciousness is not very difficult because it is sincerely chanting the holy name of the Lord. Srila Prabhupada says the tongue is there, holy name is there. All we need is a desire. The desire to sincerely chant and desire to sincerely serve according to whatever capability we have. We may not do like acharyas or the great sadhus. We can do whatever is according to our capability. So all those things, if you follow, then Krishna will definitely reciprocate. As Krishna says in the 10th chapter, Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yenamam upayantite. If you are serving anyone who serves me constantly, Tesham satatam yuktana bhajatam, worship me, priti, with love, purvakam, then I will give him intelligence. Dadami buddhi yogam. I will give him intelligence for what? Yenamam upayantite, how to come back to me. So it is not difficult. It said that Krishna consciousness is simple for the simple people. When our heart is simple, then bhakti becomes very, very easy. So here, the living entity struggles all over the universe to fulfill his plans. Everybody is struggling hard. Prakriti stani karshati. So we are struggling all over the universe to fulfill the plans, thinking that I am this, I am that, I am Brahmana, I am a Kshatriya, I am an American, I am an Indian, so on. All these designations are of same essence. So there is no point in becoming a Brahmana in preference to an American, or American becoming an American in preference to Negro. After all, these are bodily consumption under the modes of material nature. The Prabhupada always says, this Krishna consciousness is not a sentiment. It is a science of the soul. So we have nothing to do with any religion, that to identify with any religion or to identify with any of these temporary designations, family or community or caste. No, these are all temporary designations. But our real identity is, whether whatever religion we are belonging, it is actually our real identity. We know that we are spirit soul. And what is the spirit soul? The spirit soul is a part and parcel of God. And what is the nature of the soul is to love and serve. So this love and service, if we are doing for the Lord, Supreme Lord, then our life becomes perfect. So that is how we get our purification of our mind, and then we can go back to the spiritual world. So this is, we should always remember, Krishna consciousness is not a sentimental movement. It is a scientific spiritual movement. And it is said that it is a revolution of our consciousness. It's a purification of our consciousness. So there is no use that somebody is actually changing from Hindu religion to Christian religion, or somebody is changing from Christian religion to Muslim religion, or somebody from Christian religion is changing to Hindu religion. So that is not very important. What is important is actually changing our consciousness. What is the changing in consciousness means? If you are changing your consciousness from enjoying mentality to serving mentality, enjoying mentality to serving mentality, then you have achieved perfection in your own religion. In whatever religion we belong, if your consciousness is changed from enjoying mentality to serving mentality, then we become perfect in that religion. Because superficially we change, we are always fighting. So that is the science. Science is to change our consciousness from enjoying mentality to serving mentality. Serving mentality, when we say service, to whom should we serve? To country or community? No. Service mentality means we serve the Supreme Lord, and we serve people who are devoted to the Supreme Lord, the devotees. In that way, become perfect in our human form of life. Hare Krishna. So thank you. And whatever I understood, I shared. Definitely, you will also be having some understanding from this chapter and verse. So please feel free to unmute yourself, and so you can express whatever is your realization and understanding on Srila Prabhupada's purport on this. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for explaining Hare Krishna. So, Madhumadaji, Sudarshan Prabhuji, anything to add, please?
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Shivananda Prabhu, for wonderful narration. The nectarian words made us our morning blissful. Of course, afternoon for those who are in India. So you discussed about how and what should be our mentality, and how you be perfect in the particular religion or particular faith you are following, and how to control mind. So firstly, we will request devotees, if anyone has any doubts, that can be cleared from Prabhuji, or from this particular verse, or the subject. Okay, if no doubts, we assume that everything is clear about the translation and purport. So devotees may comment, add, or share their realization, because we have been reading for, I think years, and many of us are attending regularly. And I know that we all are doing our individual reading also, attending other lectures, classes also. So the aim of this session is to read and understand Srimad Bhagavatam. Read, understand, realize, and practice. Just reading or listening will not do. Understand it, realize what is the intake, then practice. Asrigamar Prabhu, please go ahead.
I think Shogana Prabhuji explained very well the verse. I mean, especially
So you are raised hand, no?
Yeah.
No, okay. Yeah.
No, just this thing. I mean, just as Prabhupada's purports are fantastic and beautiful, and if we understand that, it is more than enough where we can get this thing. Also, it is enlightened by Prabhuji also. So thank you very much, Prabhuji. So it's clear that we have to, proceed in, the mind, eye and mind, that concept we should forget and proceed with the oneness. I mean, believing in Krishna consciousness and doing the service to the Supreme Lord. We keeping Krishna in center and proceed, so that everything will come. I mean, slowly will come to us. So only this thing, that our mentality should be changed, and we have to do the service without expecting anything from Supreme Lord. We do our service and devotees. So by that we can reach the final goal. But so Prabhupada is stressing everywhere that you have to Bhakti Yuda Sevana. It's the service only. It is service. I mean, we are doing the service to the Supreme Lord. So by doing the service, in whatever way, I mean, either in reading, concentrating on the books, reading books, and or I mean, whatever way we can serve to the Supreme Lord, that will be accepted by the Lord. So everybody, those who are joining every day, also we thank you, and hope that our reading session will continue with more devotees joining together, and especially as when like Saturday and all, we are getting more ideas from more. I mean, like Yashoda Prabhuji, Sudarshan Prabhuji, Modi Mataji are able to join. So let us get the nectarian ideas from everybody, and so that we can also follow that and do our service and progress in Krishna consciousness. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Nothing else to add for me from this verse. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Shikmar Prabhu and Sudarshan Vaste Prabhu, for your comments also.
Mataji unmuted. Anything, Mataji?
Yes, please. Anybody wants to add?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu, for the wonderful, beautiful nectarian class. I just want to share one thing I heard in a lecture. It's a quote only. So we always think that philosophy is for preaching and life is for living. But in the lecture that Prabhu was telling, that actually it should be like this. philosophy is for living and life is for preaching. So that
Very nice.
line struck me like a thunder. So this just I wanted to share with you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Yes, very nice. Nice. Thank you. Thank you. Mother, you also have experience, no, Mother, that like lot of doctors, they have written books on this, like where they have this out of body experience. There are a lot of doctors, Western doctors also. Like in your career, you have encountered something like that, where the consciousness, somewhere where people are meeting their emergency, the trauma or something. There are a lot of cases around the world where they see that they are different from the body, they can perceive it. There are a lot of books on that. So in your career as a doctor, so have you experienced or heard something like that? You can share for other devotees. Thank you, Madam.
Not like out of the body experience, it was not like that, Prabhu, but some cases were there when we were posted in ICU. The patient would be completely lost for us, but after a while they will come back. There will be no pulse, the brain ECG will be like flat and ECG will be flat, and after a while, means after resuscitation, sometimes they will come back. So yeah, that experience, a lot of experience, some maybe 4 or 5 experiences were there when I was in ICU. So that is that is a miracle. We always tell that, oh, it's a miracle. We thought the patient is lost, but he came back. But they never, those patients, they never shared like this with us.
Yes.
Because usually they will be very sick during that period. Maybe after, when they are coming for follow-up, they never told about like this to us. I never remember. But these experiences were there. They were lost and they are coming back. That are there.
Thank you, Mother. Thank you.
Mataji, how you?
Experiences also sometimes. Sorry, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. Sudarshan Prabhu.
Medically, you call it as a miracle, Mataji. So
yes, miracle.
So generally, how many minutes you are supposed to wait till the time patient is dead? Yeah, as per your.
Actually, what we'll do is, Prabhu, now this when we were practicing in ICU, all these new machines are there, ventilator is there. So when we think they are dead, we'll put them in ventilator, and artificial breathing is given. And usually we will wait for one night or one night or 24 hours we'll wait. Then also the patient is not coming back. We usually wean off the patients from ventilator. We think that brain is dead, then we will not wait for long.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. So even if you keep in ventilation, the breathing is going on, and
breathing is going on, and artificially we can pump the heart also.
Okay.
That we'll keep, but if the brain is dead, then we will not keep the patients.
Okay.
We wean them off from.
Even if heart and what is called breath restores, he cannot survive. The brain is not there.
Yes. And sometimes, for when we are taking for organ transplantation, we'll keep the patients till the organ is transplanted. Even though the brain is dead, we'll keep them in ventilator, and after the organ has been taken, then we'll wean off. Like that cases were there.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji, for sharing that.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Using the advancement in technology to cure the diseases.
Yeah, when you are in medical science, we will feel the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yes.
Definitely. When you're in emergency, we feel the presence. But the most unfortunate thing is that these doctors are the most who are not at all interested in spiritual life. I always felt like that.
There are many nowadays. There are many, especially I have seen many youngsters. When I was treating my father-in-law and all, they are very pious. and they are following some spiritual path also. When you are there, they say that I am just doing my duty, and that.
Yes, yes, that is the
They said that it is final. Everything is in Supreme's hand. Okay. So we cannot see about when will you die, how will you die, or what will happen. But we will do our level best. First, you have your prayers, and there are many. But some are adamant that no, medical science is the final. Modern medical science is the final, and we will ask for that. Even though they know that they cannot even extend by 1 minute or 1 second even. But this facility of medicine and treatment is also given by Lord only. He himself in the form of Dhanvantari, and he has appointed Ashwini Kumaras. He has given us Ayurvedam as Upaveda of Rigveda. So
whatever knowledge it is from him only, no, Prabhu. Even medical science.
Yes, Prabhu.
Or Ayurveda, allopathy, everything comes from him, right? The knowledge.
Yes. Even the weaponry system is that Yajurveda is a Upaveda of some other Veda. So everything is from revealed text only. There is not even architecture, music, bands.
Yes.
Everything is from revealed text only. There is nothing new. Bro, there is a saying. There is a saying in the scholar circle in spiritual world. Vyasochistam jagat sarvam. And whatever knowledge in the world is a remnant of Vyasadeva. In their world is the remnant of Vyasadeva in context of knowledge. Because he has touched all the subjects. And he has explained it, commented on it.
Yes.
So for us, it is all Prabhupada's remnants only.
Yes.
That is why we are giving so much of emphasis on Prabhupada's purpose. Hare Krishna.
Thank you all. Hare Krishna.
Time, give a check of time.
10:31, bro.
We are not late because devotees will have other activities